Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good night. So I hope you're ready to begin with the thymus. Yes, this here. So I hope the task that I gave you yesterday was good, and these are not things that you should do day by day. These are things that I am just giving to you so you could work it at any time, not just day by day, but any day. So today we are going to talk about the thymus. And this gland, we usually relate this gland with a high heart chakra. So also related with the unconditional love. What I was about to say is that we usually relate this gland with the unconditional love, but this unconditional love is just not all the time. This is just when you are ready to love unconditionally. So what we have to speak about is the purpose of this center before you get to unconditional love. One of the things that we usually hear about this chakra is that if you love unconditionally everything in the world, you will feel balanced, you will feel the love of everything. But the truth is that in order to get into that love, into feel that unconditionally aspect of it, you need to go through a long process. You need to go through the understanding of what is happening within here. So in order to do that, we need to understand the purpose of this gland where that chakra is anchored, is manifested. We usually, when we talk about the chakras and the goals and purposes of the chakras, we usually think about the spiritual concepts, the energetical concepts, that they are way away from ourselves in an invisible aspect of our reality, but we are in the physical one. So we need to relate the purpose of those chakras to the glands, which are the things that we can touch that made us be what we are. So this is very important to understand the biology that anchors the spirit. We need to understand that this unconditional love will come to us at the moment when we achieve to transcend all the goals and purposes of the thymus. This gland has two different tasks along our way. The first one is from the very moment when we are being created in the womb of our mother until when we become teenagers, and the other one is from being teenager till we are dead. So the most important task of this gland is in the very first stage, of our growth, which is related to the creation. This gland, the thymus, has the goal to create the cells that we will call the immunological system. This gland is the one that we can relate with the defense. It defends us from the bacteria, virus, all the illnesses around, from everything that can come inside and make us harm or try to kill us. This gland, when we speak about this gland, we must to we must understand that the thymus is the one that protects the life, protects us from everything. So this is the first thing that we need to get to understand the goal of this gland before the unconditional love. One of the things that we need to be aware about this gland is that in order to reach unconditional love, we need to understand that this gland, the one related to unconditional love, is the one putting limits and conditions to our body so we don't get ill, so we could be protected from the outside. So this gland is the one that is protecting us constantly, kind of the opposite to what is unconditional love. But this is why, in order to reach unconditional love, we need to understand each part of the conditions that we have within. To understand the limitations that our body has set for ourselves helps us to understand our own limitations in the world. This is why one of the first things that I was writing today, one of the things that I was writing today is that at the moment when we feel that someone or something is going to attack us, to invade our body, we usually make this position. This gland, the thymus, is the one protecting the heart. So that's why we do exactly the same when we want to protect ourselves. So physically, in biology, this gland creates the immunological system. So it is trying to protect us from the virus and the bacteria. But also energetically is the gland that is helping us to protect ourselves from people, from situations, from things that we don't like. And that this is why also when we feel that someone is going to harm us, we feel like something in the heart, like something, a pressure. When a person receives a lot of attacks from the outside and had a difficult life, what we usually do is to protect this and your position start to bend the shoulders like this, and you go and protect this part here. When some people have received some abuse from side, from some people or whatever, they usually bend the body and they start to feel like closed. And some of the other positions is when you do like this, because it's like the thymus is going to fight against something. So it's people that wants to fight. This is also a bad thing because it usually makes us believe that everything that comes from the outside would harm us, wants to kill us or whatever. So we are waiting constantly for a fight. One of the things that this place, this center represents too, is the conflict of the lack of love. Because when you are not able to recognize the strength of yourself, when you don't recognize that you can protect yourself from anything, is because you are not able to expand yourself, to love yourself. This is a conflict for a whole humanity, because we as humanity had been facing the conflict of one another, fighting each other, and this is why we have this problem here. It's like something from humanity, not from specific people. Picture this, that along our whole life, what the thymus has done for us was to try to protect us from the others, from other people. This thing that of the thymus made us feel that we must fear others and we cannot trust the others. So try to think about now that through all the history between nations, countries, families, everyone was having fear of others because they were trusting. They had no idea if they were able to trust the others. En el timo. And this is something that we anchor in the thymus. So I start to have prejudgments of the others and to separate myself from the others. So picture that this is exactly the opposite to unconditional love. So how do I achieve the unconditional love? The way I achieve to get unconditional love is when I realize that everything that exists is just a projection of myself. When I realize that everything that I have outside is just something I needed to understand. And when I get to understand that, set myself free from the judgment, set myself free from the fear. And when you set yourself free from fear, suddenly you don't need to protect yourself from anyone. And suddenly you accept the reality of everyone. So you transform your conditions into unconditionally. What is love? Love is the ability to transform yourself. And if I am able to transform myself by love, I will also allow the others with no conditions to transform themselves without fear. And that's what we call unconditional love. As you see now, unconditional love is not just to love everything as equal. Unconditional love means that when I faced each one of my conditions inside, I understand the projections that I had made outside, so I allow myself to transform myself from those conditions, and I set free the others from those conditions, so I allow the others to transform themselves. And that's unconditional love. So the great mistake we have with love, with the concept of love, is that we think that love is to want, but love is to allow to transform. This is why it's so difficult to really love, because to love is to allow the other person to transform itself, not to become what I am expecting that person to be, what I want the other person to be. Want, allow. Two different concepts. So both of them are love. They are love anyway. But with consciousness, love is to set free, to allow. Something that we have inside of us is, as humans, is to believe that to love others is to have others. Because in our history as humans, we have fear to, we are afraid to lose the others, to lose other people. So that's why we want to have other people, to protect other people. But the real love, which is the most difficult thing to achieve, is to set the other free, free from everything. Watch the relation that it has with the timers. I want to have the control of everything because the thymus is the one that controls the immunological system, that the defense system of our body. So it must have control. So in order to allow myself to love and be loved, I need to relax the thymus and lose the control. Relax, lower my defenses. Don't be afraid. And this is why it's so difficult for humans, because we had a story, a history of trying to defend ourselves constantly from something. So that's why when we say, when the spiritual level says, release the control, they're not saying this control. They're talking about this control. Of course, the mind has, we used to believe that the control is in the mind. And of course, there is, but mostly the biological control is here in the thymus. So this is why one of the tasks that we have for today is for any other day, is to think about what is my posture, my position when I sit. Try to look in which position your body used to sit. If you sit like this, like this, like this, and to activate it, just with these two fingers, I hit here. So whenever you feel that, you do it. So along all this year, we will have to work with unconditional love. In order to do so, to work with unconditional love, we need to realize about our own limits, conditions, and everything we have here. So I hope this is useful, and let's go to this. The vibration of today is C. It's not psi in English, it's C. So the statement for today is, I am the path to balance, to equilibrium, balance, as you want. The code of today is a vibration Wu, and it says, in the deepest of creation, the DNA of every being is the potential of the entire universe, just like a seed. Just like in a seed, there is the potential of the entire tree. Wu is the vibration that unites all the beings in the search, destiny, goals, purpose, that make us reencounter meditation, conscience, the inner imagination, giving us back to cosmos through death, towards eternity, the divine dream, reminding us like the dreamer itself. So remember, the vibration we are going to work with today is C. And Wu is the sound that we just activate around to have it in mind. So let's go to the alignment.